Welcome back to the training tape series for the Minnesota State High School League basketball training tapes. This is Jason Nickleby, coordinator of officials. Thank you for viewing these tapes and reviewing the memos. I really appreciate that. You don't have to agree with the comments or the thoughts on these plays, but hopefully there's a discussion and a dialogue between you and your crew, and you know how you're going to cover these types of plays and others moving forward. So remember, these plays aren't meant to pick on any one team or official. They're meant as a learning opportunity, and hopefully that is something that is occurring for you. So with that, let's get to the plays. On this play, we're going to have a illegal screen called by the C. I think it's a pretty good call. 23 has his feet pretty wide as a base or outside of his shoulder frame and makes contact with the defender. So I think we're good there. I want to talk about the sequence of the signals and the mechanics there. I think we're really good there. Fists in the air, and we do the punch, which is a perfectly acceptable mechanic for a offensive team control foul. Just remember, when we go to the table, we'll either want to signal with a punch, or it is still okay to put a hand behind your head to indicate a team control foul, just so that everyone's aware that we're not shooting free throws if that's the case. That's not the case in this play, but just remember that we want to communicate that fact to the table and to all those involved that it is a team control foul and that we will not be shooting. So you just want to be aware of those definitions of what team control, player control, when those are lost. Just be aware of those in these types of situations. On this next play, number 24 is going to come down the middle of the paint, and we're going to have a run over, a real solid call by the lead, good positioning. The only thing I would suggest is that we put the fists in the air so that we can slow ourselves down and process what we saw. Definitely an offensive foul. And then after we do the fists in the air, we would do the punch out in front to indicate a team control foul or player control foul, as in this case. If we do have a whistle from C, we should post and hold as we do here, but really try to be patient and let lead have this first crack. And we really shouldn't come in at C unless lead has absolutely nothing on this play. Let's talk a little bit about player injury and then the resulting dead ball time management. We have an injured player from the white team that is down on the other end of the floor. We let it play out, and it results in a shooting foul for the blue team. Just a reminder of the rule. It's Rule 5.8, Article 2, note, and it talks about when you should stop the game with an injured player. So just review that when you have a chance. But the officials let this play out, and then the coach is going to come out and check on his player, and the trainer's there as well. But you'll see that the coach takes this as an opportunity to take a swipe at the officials and a perceived missed foul or missed call. Let's just walk the coach back to their bench area before we have that discussion. You'll see that number 11 from his own team is actually the one that hits him in the face, and we didn't miss a foul on this play, but you can see why the coach may think so. So just take him back to his bench and have the conversation there, which the official does here. So a nice job of getting him back to his bench and having the discussion there. On this play, the lead will flex over to the near side, and then we'll have a skip pass and a resulting dribble drive and a foul. I'm okay with a foul call from C as he comes from that side of the floor and it's a primary defender who makes contact. But I think this is a play where we would want to pregame this, and we'll want to talk about transferring that ball handler over to the lead. And the reason I say that is because I think we miss a travel here, and the reason is we're sticking with the contact from C's side and trying to see that, as opposed to letting it transition over the lead, let him take the contact and the foul or no foul, and then let the C take the travel or no travel. So that would be my suggestion on this play. Once it gets into the middle of the paint like that, let it transition over to the lead, and then the C will take the resulting travel or no travel, as is the possible case here. On this play, we'll have a fast break and a resulting foul called by the lead, who wipes the basket out, says it occurred in the middle of the paint prior to number 23 starting that arm movement up towards the basket. Try to be a little bit more patient if we can, and that way we're not rewarding the defense for committing a foul. For example, if a player pump fakes and gets smashed to the floor, let's give them 2 shots. We're going to call that continuous motion. Let's not reward the defense in that case. But overall, let's just be aware of what the rule says. The rule is 411, and it specifically talks about what the player can or can't do after contact and when continuous motion applies. You hear the phrase, this isn't the NBA, but really our rules aren't all that different. So just be aware of what the rule is and what it allows them to do. And so check out that rule 411. It's on page 30 of the rule book. Check it out. See what they can and can't do so you can explain this if it does happen in a game. On this play, we'll have a dribble drive on the left elbow and a resulting held ball called by the C. I think it's a real nice job by the C of not anticipating a foul and letting the play out, and then we have a held ball. Quickly, I just want to talk about what to do if we have a scrum or an altercation on a held ball, which can happen because we have players in close proximity and they're really trying to rip the ball away from the other player. Have the covering official and even the closest off official converge on the players, have a presence. If you're there, they're less likely to do something that they shouldn't do. And then the third official, if you have 3 officials, should stand back and observe all the players. If you have 2 officials, maybe only 1 official should approach the pile and separate the players, and then the second official can stand back. Just make sure we don't have all of our officials in the scrum. But I think in this case we do a nice job killing the play, not anticipating a foul. Nice job by the crew. On this play, I want to talk about crew communication and then our resulting communication with the coaches and the bench. We've all been in this situation, I know I have, where we have one foul called on one player by one official and one by another official, and then we're trying to sort it out, and then we forget who the foul is on one player, and we forget the number, and so it's a real uncomfortable situation. I've been there, I understand. The crew does a nice job of getting together here and discussing what each of them have, and then they go to the bench to get their feedback and to get any information they can get from them. Ultimately, we should use whatever source we have to get the play right. If you have to go to the table, if you have to consult your partners, in the regular season, it's a little tougher because it's harder to trust the bench because they're with the home team. At least we have a neutral bench in this case with the state tournament, but we've all been there. You use all the sources you can, and then you make a decision. I think if you look at the replay here, you're going to see a dribble drive, and it looks like number 3, White, is hand checking, and then we ultimately run the player over. So if you take a look at the play here, 3 has his arm bar on him, and then 35 commits a blocking foul. So either way, we have a foul on White, but we want to get it right and make sure we have the correct foul awarded to whoever it should be awarded to. So the only thing I would say is if you're over at the bench or the table working with them to try to figure out who the foul should be on and who it should be charged with, just make sure we have the coaches back and use either the third official or your second official to move the coaches back. Tell them you'll get to them and you'll have a conversation with them when you finally make a decision, but we don't want them over there by the table when you're making that decision or having that conversation. So they should move back to their benches, and even in this case, it probably would be good to have the teams go back to their bench while you make this decision or come up with what you're going to do next. So ultimately, they bring the coaches together, have the conversation. I like how the official ends up taking the coach back to his bench who's upset. So we do a nice job of that. We don't want him being upset in the middle of the floor, but make sure that they're not by the bench when we're making this decision. Like I said, we've all been there. It's really tough, but use every resource you have and then make a decision and communicate it with the coaches. On this last play, I think it really illustrates what a tough job we have as officials. I mean, I don't think it gets any tougher than this play, and at the timing of the game, I just really love how the official sells this play. He's confident in his call, and it's about as 50-50 as you get. And I'm just really proud of the officials for sticking with this game. It was a hard game to work. There was a lot of stuff going on. And then you have this play with a minute and change to play in a tough game. So just a great job by the crew. You know, they worked hard, lots of stuff going on, and this is another example of a play that is about as 50-50 as you get and why it's really hard to be an official. So great job by everyone out there. You know, these are the plays we get paid for. Not a ton of money, but um, these are the decisions that we need to make when we're officials, and really proud of the lead in this case, but the officials overall who step up and make these calls night in and night out. So a little longer tape. There was some interesting plays. Thank you for taking a look, and have some great games tonight and this weekend, and we'll catch up in a few weeks.